guys, welcome to my channel. I am sorry, I know that I do not upload as many videos as perhaps you guys would want me to upload to this channel, but I am quite busy as it is with my other channel, which is the reason why I'm not able to upload. But I've not forgotten about this channel, and I, if nothing else, would be uploading the storytelling videos quite frequently around here. Anyway, today a story that I'm going to tell, it has some horror, it has a lot of emotion, and I hope that you all will enjoy it. So let's go. This is a story of a man called Subbu. Subbu is a villager who lives in a village situated on an icy valley between these two mountains called the Dyumuk Mountains. Dyumuk. Dyu means two and Muk means openings or mouth. He lives in Dyumuk Mountains. It's a snowy, cold, tundra-like place. And since they're not able to grow anything around there, they have to resort to hunting and gathering, but mostly hunting of yaks, rabbits, sheep, goats, and all that. They have to resort to that. Subbu does not have anyone else in his family save for his wife and his sister-in-law, which is very young. And they tend to live happily for the most of the time, except of one time when Subbu's sister-in-law, who also is passionate about hunting but Subbu never takes her to hunting, decided to go hunting by herself. And since she's incapable of hunting any big or dangerous or vicious or meaty animal, she decides to hunt for this goat that looks old, weak and frail and was probably also diseased. So she hunts, and she has a makeshift tent. She hunts that old animal, cooks and eats that animal, and she falls sick. Subbu calls for a lot of different healers and medics around the village, and none of them are able to heal her. Then he finds about an old, wise healer from a faraway village. He goes there, he calls them. They both travel on his mule. They come back to Swaksha village. And the healer, he tells Subbu that his sister-in-law has got a very rare type of disease, which could only be solved with a magical fruit. Subbu says, but I do not believe in magic. The old healer says, whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. Magic fruits exist, but they do not exist around the mountains. You will have to descend down into the mainland and find it there, perhaps in a forest, if there exist any, because now in this world, which takes place in the same story as the Tarangani stories, if you're aware of that. If you're not, you can check out the playlist. The mainland is getting more and more civilized. They are shifting from hunter-gathering to a farming society. So they're clearing out the forest to farm more, which means there's a lack of forest. But if he could find a forest in the mainland, maybe one of the forests has those magical fruit. Subbu says, what does that fruit look like? The healer says, it looks like an apple, but it glows in 3 different colors: red, yellow, and green. So it's like a rainbow apple, in a sense. Subbu says, I don't think such a fruit exists. Healer says, trust me, it does, and you better find it fast if you want to heal your sister-in-law. Whether Subbu believes it or not, his wife certainly does, and his wife says, look, you better do anything you can to save my sister, or otherwise I will never forgive you for the rest Subu says, fair enough, fair enough. And he goes to the mainland. They live way up in the mountains. It takes him an entire day to descend down to the mainlands. And when they descend down to the mainland, there is a river that flows between the foot of the mountain and the rest of the world. So he takes a canopy, goes there, and he knows someone in this village called Rangodar village. He knows a long-distant cousin of his called Dasu. So he goes to meet Dasu. Dasu invites him to his home, and Dasu lives with his only aging mother. Subu explains to Dasu this whole thing with his sister-in-law and that they need a magical fruit. And Dasu also says that, look, I don't think such a fruit exists. Subu says, but we still have to find it to save my sister-in-law, and you must help me. But again, Dasu says that I have never heard of such a fruit, so I don't know how can I help you. Then Dasu's mother says that no, there exists a forest west of our village. Maybe you can go and try look there. And Dasu's like, God damn it, mother, why did you have to say anything? And Subu says, okay, yes, we will go there and you will take me there and we will look for the fruit. Dasu says, I'm not too sure about that. I'm telling you, nothing like that exists. Apologize to your wife and your sister-in-law and go back. Subu says, that's not an option. Either you're going with me to the forest, or I'm never going back up to Dumuk village. And if something goes from bad to worse, you're the one who will have to do the explaining of why we both could not save my sister-in-law. And Dasu says, dang it, fine. We will go to the forest early in the morning, around the time when the sun is up. The plan is made, and the next day they go early in the morning to look for this fruit in the forest. It was not a very huge forest. They kept looking every nook and cranny, and Dasu said, look, I was telling you that no such fruit exists. Subu was disheartened, and they were returning back to their village when they found 3-4 people coming into the village. They said that they came from coming into the forest, I meant. They said that they're from this village called Swaksha, which is far away from him. And they asked Dasu and Subu, did you guys saw a young boy with short hair and earrings on his ears? Dasu and Subu said, nope. We're the only 2 people right now in this forest. And then the village folks say, but we were told that maybe the boy has headed somewhere around here. And that's when Subu say, well, it's not a big forest, right? If your boy was here, we would have seen him. But accompanying the village folk of Swaksha was an old hermit who said, no, my boy, you only think that there exists just this much of forest. The forest is actually bigger than it looks. Surely you must know that. He said to Dasu that you must know that if you're from around here. Dasu froze in his place and was gesturing like this to tell the hermit to keep his mouth shut. Subu looked at Dasu. That is what he's saying is true. Dasu said, I don't know, but the hermit said, of course it's true. You just have to know how to unlock the forest. And then Dasu was like, yeah, but that's forbidden, that's dangerous, we should not do that. Because I've heard stories from the childhood that people who try to unlock the forest never make it out of the forest. But Subu and the Swaksha the village boys from Suksha said, look, the boy that went missing was the son of our village head. And if we do not return back with the boy, the village head and her other son, as in the elder brother of the boy who went missing, would cut us alive, would skin us alive if we do not return with the boy. And Subbu was like, look, maybe in this hidden part of the forest will we find the magical fruit. Dasu said, no, it will certainly mean our demise. At that point, the hermit says that, look, life and death, it's all the will of God. And then Dasu says, well, what if the will of God is to let us die? Then the hermit says, who are we to turn around what the God has already chosen for us? Subbu begins cursing and, throwing tantrums, but Dasu began throwing curses and tantrums, but Subbu said, look, either you're coming with me to this mysterious forest or I'm going by myself. But I must do anything I could to save my sister-in-law. I promised that to my wife. And Dasu wanted to say, fine, go by yourself, to hell with you, but he could not. Because his mother had told him that, please, he's your cousin, help him out. So Dasu, Subbu, the village boys of Swaksha, and the hermit decide to unleash the hidden part of the forest. And the way to do that was, right in the middle of the forest, there was a slender, lengthy tree whose head, the top portion, the top branches, were kind of folded with a rope, and the rope was stuck inside the soil. So they began to dig out the soil, find the other end of the rope. Turns out the other end of the rope was tied to an anvil. When they opened the rope, the tree let itself loose and made a whoosh whipping sound, and that whipping sound was so loud that it nearly burst the eardrums of all the people. They closed their eyes and covered their ears, and 2 seconds later, when they opened their eyes, they found the forest leading somewhere downwards, like into a descent to even more forest that didn't exist there before, as if the forest they were in was situated on top of some hill or a plateau, and they have to descend down into more greenery. They had never seen anything like that, but even if reluctantly, they all started making their way downwards. They went down, and the downwards portion of the forest was way more greener, way more lush. The air was way more, pleasant and cooler, and there was a great fragrance. There were so many big, beautiful trees, adorned with so many different beautiful flowers and fruits. And the hermit was just moving and prancing and dancing and singing, looking at the beauty of this mysterious forest. The 3 village boys from Swaksha had also forgotten their task, and they just started smelling the flowers and touching the flowers. Dasu, the cousin, who was so stressed just a moment before, also forgot his stress and just started looking at the river that was flowing nearby, drinking the water and enjoying himself. It's like everybody lost their focus except of Subbu. Subbu was focused on finding that fruit for the promise he had made to his wife. And lo and behold, after a while of struggle, he found it. It was hanging from a shrub somewhere far away. So he ran there and he tried to pull out that magical, colorful apple from the shrub, but he was struggling to do so. Then he called for Dasu that, hey Dasu, come on and help me out with this. Then Dasu and Subbu both were holding onto the apple to pull it out. They were not able to do it. Then they started calling out for the village boys from Swaksha, and all 4 of them all five of them were just pulling out the apple, but with no success. They were still trying their best to pull the apple out and screaming and shouting and struggling, and then suddenly, near his feet, Supu realized that a big yellow eye opened up from the ground, and the ground beneath them started shaking very vigorously. And then they heard a scream, and a big creature whose whole body and skin, as if made out of those shrubs and grasses, just raised out of the ground. He tore through the soil, and all five of them just tumbled down back to the ground, and the monster let out a roar. Supu, Dasu, the village boys from Saksha, they all ran and hid behind a tree. Everyone except of that hermit, who just started standing in front of that creature and started hurling abuses at them. Soon enough, of course, the creature, enraged, grabbed the hermit by his head and then swallowed him whole. All of the other people were just dumbfounded and they froze in fear. And then a few moments later, the creature was speaking in the voice of the hermit, talking about saving this beautiful forest from people, from the human beings, and how they need to kill and eat all the human beings. And then the hermit's voice, both of them, hermit's voice started also saying that no, you cannot kill us, you cannot eat us. Human beings are necessary for the progress of civilization. It's like the creature had a split personality, and it was splitting between the thoughts of the creature versus the thoughts of the hermit. And they started dancing and jumping around the creature, and then the creature went through a waterfall, which made him shiver very rigorously, as if he was going through, I don't know, typhoid. And that's when one of the village boys in Soksha was like, wait a minute, does that mean that this creature has an aversion to water? The second boy said, yes, perhaps it does. What if we try to drown this creature into water? Maybe that will kill him. The third one said, how will we be able to do it? And that's when Supu told his cousin Nasu that, how about you distract the creature and let him into the river? He will begin to feel weak, and I will manage to tear out the fruit from his body. Nasu said, I'm not gonna let my life go to danger just so that you can get a freaking apple. We all are just running out of here. Supu said, no, we cannot. What if this creature runs after us and comes out into our world? Which the Soksha boys agreed, true, that's dangerous. Then Supu said, look, tell you what, you guys find any rock and stick you can. Find a way to tie them together, create like hammers and spears or whatever. I'm going to go in front of this creature, try to flank this creature towards the water, and you guys also start throwing things to like push the creature towards the water, and then it would be mission accomplished. Dasu was not fan of this idea, but Soksha boys, the Soksha village folks, did not care that. Like, yeah, you can go. And so Supu went in front of the creature, walking crisscross zigzag to confuse the creature. The creature, in the voice of the hermit, kept hurling abuses at Supu. Then Supu brought him near the river, and they were getting closer and closer, but just as the creature was about to step into the water, he stopped and grabbed Supu by his skull and also ate Supu. Dasu let out a scream saying, no, which diverted the attention from the river of the creature towards them, and the creature started, bouncing towards them. They were all scared, and then the creature started speaking in the voice of Subu, saying that no, you cannot hurt these people. These people are my people. And then the voice of the hermit came, saying that to hell with all the people and the human beings. Look at this beautiful world that we have without human beings. And the voice of the Subu and the voice of the hermit started arguing with each other inside the creature's body, and it led to physical altercation in which the creature now started harming its own self, basically doing self-harm, choking itself, pulling out its teeth, pulling out its tongue, breaking its teeth. This altercation went, and that's when Dasu got an idea. He told the village boys to let us go into the water, near the water. They all went near the waters with their makeshift weapons, and they started throwing the spear, the small club they had made, the sticks, the rocks, whatever, towards the creature to bring or divert their attention, the creature's attention towards the river. The creature started arguing, cussing, fussing, and going near the river, and he was about to attack them, but that's when one of the village boys picked up a massive rock and just slammed it on the foot of the creature. That made the creature trip, fall into the water. He struggled. The creature was struggling, drowning. They could hear the voice of the hermit and Sumbo coming out together, screaming, but they could do nothing. After a while, the creature was dead, and his body was floating on the surface of the river. The village boys from Soksha were running back to the main world, but Nasu was like, no, we cannot leave before I take something. He picks out a sharp rock, jumps onto the dead body of the creature, and cuts out that fruit out of the creature's body, and then he also runs back to the actual village. They realize that this is a dangerous place, so they decide to grab onto that rope that was attached to that tree, pull it with all their might, tie it around that anvil that was dug into the ground, and then cover it again with the soil. The three village boys from Soksha said, to hell with that boy, his mother, the village head, and the brother. We are never going back to our village. We are gonna just run away and disappear. Das also said, yes, I guess it's also about time that I go back to my mother. But when he goes back to his mother, he comes to realize that a whole day has passed while they were inside that mysterious village. Even though to them it felt like a couple of hours. He went back and found his mother unconscious and her body just burning like a coal. He brought a local healer from his village, the Rangodar village, who told Dasu that, I'm sorry to say, your mother is near her deathbed, is on her deathbed. Dasu is in denial, is in disbelief that how can this happen? And as a desperate attempt, he says, then what if this magical fruit can actually do anything? So he takes a knife, chops the apple into equal halves, and gives a half to his mother. The mother eats the apple, and lo and behold, she is healed. So that means that that magical apple is in fact useful and magical. The mother, when she gains conscious, says, where is Subu? And Dasu said, I'm sorry to say, Mom, he is no more. And then Dasu's mom starts blaming it on Dasu actually, that, why didn't you protect him in this and that? And now you should go to Dilmuk, to the mountains, to his wife and his sister-in-law, and not only give them the fruit so that the sister-in-law could heal, but also tell them the truth, the fruit and truth. So he immediately embarks on the journey all the way up to the Dilmuk mountains, taking the canopy and then trying to run as fast as he could on the mountains, trying to escape the wildlife. It would usually take a person a day to go all the way from the mainland to the village, but he managed to make that journey in a few hours because he was filled with the determination now to save the sister-in-law of the late Subbu. He reaches to the village, goes to Subbu's hut. His wife was not there at the moment, but the sister-in-law was just lying there unconscious, and he immediately gives her the fruit and feeds her the fruit because he was scared that the fruit was also going to rot after a while. The sister-in-law eats the fruit which was frozen. He had to break it, the eyes, and feed the chunks. By then, Sumbu's wife also comes back. She was carrying a bunch of woods. So she was collecting woods for fire. And she is surprised to see that her sister is completely fine. She is happy to see her sister fine. But when she asks Dasu about her husband, and when Dasu tells her the truth, both the wife and her sister start bawling out and crying, and Dasu apologizes that, look, I'm sorry, I was supposed to protect him. But the sister-in-law says that, no, it's my fault. I wish I had not gone to hunting by myself. I had eaten that animal and gotten sick, and Subbu would not have had to go to the mainland. Wife says, no, it's also my fault. I forced him to go to the mainland, but Dasu tries to explain to them that, look, Subbu was a brave man and he really loved his wife and he really cared about his sister-in-law, and he cared more about the well-being of you two than of his own life. So you guys should honor him and keep him in your memory all the time, and I will also keep him in my memory all the time. Saying that, he takes his leave and makes the journey back to the mainland, back to his mother. Anyway guys, this was the story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you all